All right, guys. All right. So, did you just hear that thing about the wallet in the wild? No kidding. I found a wallet. It's not a hardware wallet, but someone literally lost their wallet. Cameron Ford, are you in here? Maybe he's out there. We'll give it to the security folks. I'm not kidding you. Someone's actual wallet. If he comes and gets it, do you realize what will happen? Somebody will have come into a room full of ICOs and actually gotten their money back. Right? Is this the first time somebody laughed today at anything? I'm excited to be with you guys. I'm going to run through a few things. I'll be the only guy who talks to you through this entire conference probably who's not going to talk to you about anything technical. Nothing at all. Instead, what I really want to do is talk to you about kind of the reason we're doing what we're doing. And so my goal here is not to get anyone to invest in what I'm doing, but instead to inspire you guys in what you're doing. So for all you ICO people who are out there, you're missing out. You're so missing out. I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing. Winston Churchill once said this. He said, men occasionally in life will stumble over the truth, but most of them will pick themselves back up in a hurry and then run off as if nothing ever happened. That's unfortunately what a lot of folks do. Let me tell you who I am. My name is Ben Swann. I am a 3-time Edward R. Murrow Award winner, Emmy Award winner, 20 years in broadcast. I've worked for Fox News stations, NBC, CBS news stations. I also created a segment called Reality Check with Ben Swann and something called the Truth in Media Project. We launched it a few years ago. And at that time, we went independent and we tried to use some resources through crowdfunding, through Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and had some moderate success. I went back into the mainstream, and then earlier this year in January, I left that again, this time to launch an entirely crypto-funded project, bringing back Reality Check with Ben Swann and the Truth in Media Project, completely funded by Dash, Digital Cash. I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. But when I tell you why, I need to go through a couple things. And again, I got to be quick because we don't have a ton of time. Fascism. What is fascism? I want to talk to you about that today. A weird subject, right? Fascism, let's talk about what it's not. Number one, fascism is not Nazism. It is not white supremacy, and it is not the alt-right. So when we hear the word fascism, because words have meaning, we need to understand what we're talking about. There's a point to this, okay? George Orwell wrote this in 1946. He said, the word fascism is almost entirely meaningless. There are people, he says, who recklessly fling the word fascist in every single direction, and they attach at any rate an emotional significance to it. By fascism, they mean, roughly speaking, something cruel, unscrupulous, arrogant, anti-liberal, anti-working class. Except for the relatively small number of fascist sympathizers, almost any English person would accept bully as a synonym for fascist. How many of you agree that that is still probably true today, right? That definition really hasn't changed since 1946. There's a point to this. What is fascism? So Benito Mussolini is actually the father of fascism. He created it. Fascism, he once wrote, should rightly be called corporatism, as it is the merger of corporate and government power. You might have seen that quote before. But when we see that word, corporate power, the word that he would have used in Italian is actually this word. It's corporativismo. And corporativismo is not what we think of when we think of corporate or corporations. Benito Mussolini in 1932 in The Doctrine of Fascism said this. He said, in the fascist state, the individual is not suppressed, but rather multiplied, just as in a regiment, a soldier is not weakened, but multiplied by the number of his comrades. The fascist state organizes the nation, but it leaves sufficient scope to individuals. It has limited useless or harmful liberties, and it has preserved those that are essential. It cannot be the individual who decides in this matter, but only the state. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with? Well, we live in a system today that is a collective corporate system, or corporativismo. But corporations, and what he's referring to, Mussolini was referring to, are not corporations like businesses. It is the collective and the state working together. So everything in our society today is built upon the idea of greater good. And that's where today cryptocurrencies are actually being attacked, and ICOs are being attacked. Why are they being attacked? If you sat in this room today, if you've sat through a lot of these presentations, then you're hearing people who will get up and tell you why their ICO, why their project, why their idea, why the cryptocurrencies that they're around are going to change the world for the better, right? Isn't that the message that we're hearing today? We're not hearing how cryptocurrencies are going to destroy everything, or how ICOs are going to scam people. We're not hearing how they're going to destroy healthcare. We're hearing how they're going to fix healthcare. We're hearing how they're going to fix education. We're hearing how they're going to fix all kinds of problems in our current systems. But if you turn on your TV or you open up your internet and you read the news, that's not what they're telling you, is it? They're actually telling you the exact opposite. They're telling you that cryptocurrencies are volatile and dangerous, and that ICOs are the biggest scam, and that all of this is going to be the biggest bust since the tulip market crashed in 1632. Yes, they're saying that. Who knew there was such a big deal about tulips? But apparently it was a big thing. And so when we see what's being said in media about cryptocurrencies and ICOs, about the environment, mining is bad for the environment. The stock market, it's bad for that. It's bad because the government can't control it. ICOs are dangerous. They're scam coins. We're seeing all of that. And so what we're watching is corporativismo. The reason that these things cannot exist is because it harms the greater good. Corporativismo, the collective, is actually non-existent. It is a facade that's been created. Protecting the collective is a facade that's been created in order to exact will upon the general public. Because the reality is that all rights and all liberties belong to individuals, not to the collective. Your rights and liberties belong to you as an individual. And then what everyone as an individual chooses to do with it when you get into groups is called what? Community. That's a word we're hearing a lot today, right? The thing about what you're doing, the thing about what ICOs are all about, it's about communities of people, not the collective. But the greatest purveyors of corporativismo is the mainstream media in America. Very quickly. So, how did Dash get involved with this? How did I get involved? So, very recently, in January, as I told you, I left my job as an anchor at CBS News in Atlanta, and I started this project again, this time completely funded by Dash Digital Cash, because Dash has a DAO or a treasury, which allows projects to be funded. And so we are completely funding our entire media operation through the Dash treasury. I did this in January. February's come around, March has come around. There are now at least a half dozen other media companies that are approaching other cryptocurrencies with DAOs in order to be funded that way as well. It is powerful and it is the future. What are we doing? We're speaking truth to power, questioning media narratives, holding those who are in power accountable, presenting in a manner that rivals mainstream networks, and we are creating, hopefully, a decentralized funding method for media networks, because all of it leads to one thing, and that is freedom. George Orwell, again, he once said this, I'm almost out of time. Freedom is the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. What I find, you can clap for that. Freedom is, let me say it again though, and then you can clap, it'd be good for video. Freedom is the right to tell people what they do not want to hear, right? That's awesome. That is an awesome thing. What I see happening in this room, what I've seen all day long, are people who are standing up on this stage and explaining how they are attempting to bring freedom to industry and bring freedom to their organization, to their community, to their particular outlet. What I would say is this: the future of crypto, it's bigger than just money, it's bigger than just finance, and I hope what you're seeing today, that you are doing, because so many of you who are in this room, you're involved in something out there, right? What you're actually doing is creating decentralization of every industry, and that is our future. Time's up. Thank you, guys.